Hey everybody, I'm Alexis Meeks.
And I'm your host, Jim Cardinal. Happy Mortgage Monday.
This week, Jim's going to tell us a little bit about different ways to account for structural issues when it comes to the closing on a home.
Right, Alexis. Last week I had a transaction, and this happens pretty often, where there's a structural issue, nothing major, but there's a problem with the structural that exceeds the $1,500, and there's a credit that's being worked out between the seller and the buyer to rectify that situation, that structural issue. And again, I had an issue last week, and it was a $1,400 credit. I received an email from the client basically saying, hey, we'd like to get that $1,400 so that we could rectify this situation, which is not uncommon. People need that money for a reason. And but we're going to reduce the sale price. Well, that actually conflicted, because that doesn't do that. By reducing the sale price, you're going to reduce your loan amount, and you're going to reduce your payment, and of course reduce the price, but it's not going to actually give you the $1,400 to fix the issue. So in that situation, we actually turned it around. They didn't have a seller concession at all. We just took the $1,400 and we had an addendum done up by the attorney to give a $1,400 credit towards closing costs. And why towards closing costs versus the credit towards structural is you simply just don't really want to talk about that too much with banks. Bringing them into a fold with a structural issue, they may have a problem, want that done prior to closing. So it's just simply, it's a better thing to be put as a seller concession towards closing costs. So that worked in that instance. It's a perfect scenario. You do have those two options: lower down the payment, or lower down the purchase price, or doing a lender credit or a seller credit.
So what happens if somebody's already got seller concessions on their loan?
Yeah, it's a great question. That happens a lot. We have an FHA deal where the folks didn't have a lot of money, so we have a 6% seller concession, and you can't exceed that 6% for anything. So you basically have the option of either lowering the purchase price down, as we discussed earlier. You also could turn it to a 203K if there were a lot of structural issues. And sometimes the attorneys can work that out amongst the buyers. I mean, in the sellers, it doesn't happen very often. The attorneys, of course, and the banks do not allow for those credits to happen outside of closing. That used to happen all the time, but in this day and age, it just doesn't happen anymore. But there are a couple of different ways to work it out, and they always seem to work out. It just pans out just fine every time. But there are a lot of different ways to skin a cat. And of course, the best way is doing it via the seller concession, in my opinion, because it does give the buyer that extra money that they need. So if this week, if you run into a deal like that, or if you're out there talking to a first-time home buyer, please think of me, Jim Cardinal. My phone number is 281-0077, VA, FHA, FHA 203K, USDA, Jim Cardinal, 281-0077. Make it a great week, and we will talk to you soon.